Hey there. This is a video that's going to walk through how to do a count of points in Excel by some kind of geography, and then also how to calculate the mean center of those points within a particular geography. Both of these are somewhat common statistical tasks with spatial data when we're wanting to identify hotspots of various points. There's lots of different ways in which one can do this. This is just one common way that's easy to do, relatively easy to do in Excel. So I'm going to minimize myself here. And what we've got here is a list of Waffle House locations. This is obviously a very crucial data set here. This was downloaded from a secondary source on store locations or business locations. And we've got the name of the company. We've got the address, city, zip code. Most importantly, we've got a latitude and longitude. And I've also joined it to a list of counties. So what county each store is in. And actually, for this video, what we're going to do is two things. One, we're going to calculate which zip code in the country has the most Waffle Houses. And then within that zip code, what is the store that's closest to the center, right? So we're going to calculate a mean center within that zip code of all stores and then try to identify the store that's closest to that. So let's go ahead and jump in. So first thing we need to do is do a count. And to do that, that is creating a pivot table. This is Excel Online, which I have access to through the university. It looks very similar if you have Excel on your desktop, or actually Google Sheets can do something very similar to this as well. If I wanted to do a pivot table, what I do is do an insert pivot table. And it's going to say, what range do you want your data to come from? And what a pivot table is going to do is it's going to condense down. It's going to do some kind of summary of the data. I'm just going to do my whole data set. It's what it selects automatically. I'm going to say, let's do this on a new worksheet. So it's going to create a new sheet down here. I click OK. And now we've got a sheet 1 that's listed down here. There's nothing in here yet, but there's a list of criteria over here. So what I want to do is I want to let's go by company name. And let's do by zip code. And you notice they automatically kind of put things in rows and values. Right now, you've got the sum of all the zip codes for stores named Waffle House. That's not very helpful, right? That's not what we want. What we want is a list of zip codes with a count of stores. In order to get that, I just have to swap these over. So if I move zip codes from values over to rows, now I've got a list of zip codes. There's one that's up in New Jersey that's got a 0 in front of it. But these are a list of zip codes under Waffle House. So we do Waffle House, and then here's the zip codes. Now we want to move this company name actually over to values, because what we want is a count. It doesn't really matter if it's company name or address or city. We just want a count of records. So if I move company name over to values, you'll notice that automatically Excel changes that to a count variable. So now we've got zip code, and then here's the count of company name. How many observations, how many records we have. And so we could try to sort this. If I go this way, then I can do data and sort descending. Oops, and it's not going to let me do that. So this is, pivot tables are kind of a pain to deal with this way. What I'm actually going to do is copy and paste this over here. Oops. Over here. And you'll notice now it doesn't have the pivot table formatting. So the easy thing here is actually I just highlight this, I go under data and choose filter, which gives me these drop-down controls that allow me to filter in a number of different ways. And I'm going to choose sort descending here, and I see that there are actually 3 zip codes. So there's a grand total column. Don't worry about that. That's just how many records there were. There's 3 zip codes that have 6. And for the sake of argument, let's just take the first one of those, 30014. So now we've identified what's the zip code with the most Waffle Houses located within it. Now what we want to do is we want to calculate what's the most central store within that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my main list. I know I want zip code 30014. So I'm going to go ahead and filter this data again. So I'm selecting all, then I'm clicking the filter button. I'm going to choose here, I'm going to choose filter, and hold on for a second. In Excel, it gives you the ability to just type something in. Here I'm choosing a custom filter where zip code equals 30014. Click OK. And there are my 6 locations. So the mean center is literally just the mean x, which is the longitude, and the mean y, which is the latitude. And it tells us the central point of any given distribution. Now, one of the things that's important here is that we filter this data, but Excel still sees all these other records here. So let's go ahead and we're just going to copy this information. I'm going to highlight it, hit Control C. I'm going to create a new sheet that just has the records from the zip code here. And then I can just calculate the mean X and the mean Y. And the formula for that is just simply equals average. And for the mean X, it's going to be the longitude. Right? And we see it's 83.84 something. That's about right. And the latitude is average latitude. And there's our mean center. If we make this a little wider, we'll see what this looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and take these coordinates and plug them into Google Maps and see where that point is. And Google likes the Y to come before the X. So let's do that. 33. I'm copying and pasting. It's pretty straightforward. Let's see where this point is. Looks like it is basically right to the east of Covington. Now, and you'll see Atlanta is over here in terms of where we're at. This point in of itself doesn't really mean anything. It's not like there's something special about this point, but it is the center of this. Let's figure out which store is closest. There's lots of different ways we can do it. I'm just going to type in Waffle House here. And see, it looks like this store is probably the closest one in what we're looking at. If we wanted to get specific, we could, for instance, click on this store and get directions from that point that we just looked at. So if I go back over here and let's do the same thing again. And then do this. Oops. That. We'll get directions from one point to the other one. That looks like it's about 0.9 miles. I could plug in other Waffle House locations and see if any of them are any shorter. But you see that's a pretty short distance. So probably I would pick this Waffle House as the one that's kind of the center of the zip code with the most locations. So you get the idea of how this works. It's a fairly straightforward process in Excel, pretty easy to do, and gives you some sense of the distribution of your data. Thanks.